I have heard you, and I'm persuaded. But I want to appeal to you. When you say there's no money in Kenya, I want you to relate it to the good old writing, which I suspect you have read, the story of the acres of diamonds. If you ask me, give a different person and ask us to leave this republic, you will find that wherever they will have taken us, there'll be net donors to us. There is enough in this country. You said it yourself, Minister, that one of the remedies is to cut down on expenses. What do you want Kenyans to do if that is the policy? It's in your hands. Cut those expenses in the national government. One, cut expenses in hospitality. The president spoke to it when he addressed it during that difficult time. It is in your hands. Cut expenses on unconstitutional officers. The president spoke to it when he addressed us to bring the country together. Why are we still factoring money for those unconstitutional officers, which include the officers of the First Lady of the President, the First Lady of the Deputy President, the First Lady of the Prime Cabinet Secretary? Why? Why are you spending money on unconstitutional officers, the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary? And why can you cut expenses on advisors? Ministers have advisors, governors have advisors, Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Deputy President, the President. You promised us as government that we're going to cut it. This will cut expenses. Should our county government suffer and fail because you want to massage the egos of the husbands of the first ladies? Why I came from Kakamega to Nairobi, I did not come here to participate in massaging the egos of some people. I came here to protect the interest of the vulnerable so that we can move our country forward. Make this difficult decision. I remember you found me in Parliament when you came for the first time, and we've worked very well with you. But you remember also, for 5 years, I left you in Parliament. And while I was there mongering and doing my own silly things, including bullfighting, I was not pushing the taxpayer to give me a job to do things. This craze of giving everybody a job, causing the government to fail. When you're in cabinet, my brother, I know Suba, we've been with you there doing rallies. We've eaten fish together with you there. You give me lectures every time we share with you a flight to Kisumu, and I always enjoy. Let's make a difference. There is enough money in Kenya. Debunk that thought.
Proceed, Senator Edi.
You know, I still see the CS as a former chair of ODM. So I still tread with caution because I don't want my certificate interfered with. But that's on a lighter note. Just to say that I am getting us almost going to a common argument called whataboutism. Yes. Whataboutism is a practice where there is conflicting scenarios, then we tend to look at answering some tough questions, but by saying, yes, it's wrong on my side, but what about you? You're also doing it. You also have the same problem. It doesn't solve the problem. By getting ourselves to a situation whereby we start looking at national government's misgivings, both in terms of raising resources and spending, and then we say that, but there is also discretionary funds in the counties, it becomes problematic. Bwana CS, I find it very problematic. Because the spirit of Article 202, if I get it, there is substantive conversation around raised national revenue. And then there's a conversation in the same article about additional allocation of funds by national government. I want to separate those two spirits with a lot of respect. If we're talking about the national raised revenue, which is what the spirit of DORA has been, then at any given point when the issues of non-discretionary expenses raises in counties, there is no wiggle room around it. It's just simple as that, Bwana CS. If we were talking about national additional funds by the national government, then it makes it very easy, because the fundamental question that then becomes is what Senator Tabitha had asked, which I don't want to belabor, which is the question of what is the scientific explanation of the 20 billion? Is it an arbitrary number, and then there's a laundry list that is a wish list that each county will then go and navigate through their discretionary expenses to match that gap? Or is it just a number that came from some inspiration? That's the question that I asked that I don't think has been explored, because it is the bone of contention here that this 20 billion that you want to take from counties, do you want to take it from counties and then let counties go and figure out, the 47 of them, how then they balance the equation, the discretionary, which then that brings a very, very serious whataboutism conversation, which for me, because you are still my wonderful chair, because of the way you sound, you mentored me, I don't want to get, because when I get to it, then it could get us out of the conversation. And I think that is the question which we have, because if you don't answer it, then we are talking about, despite the number that you have put, and if the base that we are working with is still 2020 to 2021 of the audited financial year, then you will still find that the money that goes to counties, even with the figures that you have presented, is still reducing. When we're talking about strictly shareable revenue, it is constantly reducing, while the national government is constantly increasing. So then the danger with this, as a young person looking at where our country is, then the danger with it is that then, Bwana CS, we cannot have a vibrant, holistic conversation around this fiscal consolidation conversation that we need to have as a country. Because then you're going to limit yourself on, we are cutting on our side, we are doing wrong things on our side, you're also doing wrong things on our side, let's have this conversation that way. But if we look at it from functionality of these county governments and what they can and they can't do, then when you meet this committee, because it's a very able committee, and I'm very unhappy today that the chair is not here and Onyonka is not here in person and Faki is not here in person, those are honorable senators, then we would have pushed ourselves in the same partnership conversation we have had with the Treasury. And Albert, you know this, probably you could tell the CS, we could have pushed ourselves to have a very hard conversation on where are the gaps in this country that are causing us to have this physical constraint. The first, honestly, is the issue of that deficit at national level. When the CS, the former CS, was sitting on the same seat you are sitting there, and the budget policy statement of the previous year was presented, this particular committee insisted to the CS on some areas where we thought very critically, and some of them Senator Boni has talked to, that the deficit was coming from that ought to have been considered and be reduced. That conversation is missing on this fiscal consolidation conversation. Senator Boni has tried to invite you on a conversation on the structural elements of our taxes and our taxation. And I'm actually glad that I saw the other day you were initiating a conversation around it on why we should cut some corporate taxes. But even those tiers of taxes, we invited the Treasury on a conversation on how we should be able to rethink our taxation to allow for more to come on the loo. That conversation is missing on this fiscal consolidation because we are obsessed with this issue of this 20 billion. We are talking about the issue of leakages and wastage in government. And we have only focused on KRA, but we also know very well that there are procurement officers in this government that constantly are inflating very serious expenses in government to the tune of 300 billion that we're trying to look for in this particular fiscal consolidation. It is missing. We are talking of the same procurement officers whereby you'll find that even among real estate agents today, if you look at developers who are doing serious buildings and any other development things in this country, they are running single accounts for multiple projects in this county that does not allow for serious money circulation in the economy that can be able to help with this fiscal consolidation. A number of legislative pieces that could come in this for fiscal consolidation is missing because we are obsessed with this conversation about whataboutism. Bwana CS, the 20 billion for county government that we're fighting over should not be touched. If we are willing to have a serious conversation about how we approach this fiscal consolidation with this committee, our chair can guide on that and perhaps we can come into that conversation. But I am not convinced, scientifically, I am not convinced by the National Treasury why this 20 billion must be reduced in the wake of what I've presented clearly, the non-discretionary commitments that half of them, it is not the county government that committed to. Half of them, it is the national government that made the counties commit to. KIPES, the national government made the counties commit to the 11.7 billion we're talking about. The CBA agreement, the national government made the counties commit to. The community health promoters, the national government made the counties commit to. And we cannot go back and tell today community health promoters who have volunteered through sweat and blood for over 5 years in this country. We can't go and tell them that their money is not there because the government does not have money. In a place where leakages are mounting to 300 billion. If we go with a classical case that has been said by the executive that 1 billion is lost in this country every single day. So can we have a sober conversation about a proper approach to fiscal consolidation that makes sense policy-wide than just being able to come with this arbitrary number, 20 billion from counties?
Thank you so much, Senator Eddie. We are winding up on this. As you respond to this, there's something that you mentioned in your remarks. You talked about that you are in doubt that you can make available to counties 50% of the previous allocation as per our regulation 134. But as per the PS letter dated on 5th of August, reference number IGFR/SG/01B34, the PS had considered that this transfer can be made. Because if this then transfer of funds is not made 50%, we stall the counties as far as their salaries and wages are concerned. You've talked about you're waiting for the AG to be able to advise. What is the timeline and why is it again, you as a new current CS, this position is again changing? Because the office of the PS has not changed. Why is that advice changing? Proceed, Waziri.
Maybe let me start, Chair, with the last issue that you've raised regarding these transfers to the counties. Yes, that was the position of the PS, and I will tell you it was also my position, though not documented anywhere. But I will tell you that opinions are divided on this. If you engage with Parliament, they will tell you a different opinion. What we have done is to seek the proper legal opinion now from the government legal advisor, the Attorney General. And actually today I'd asked for a follow-up to that letter. I am sure by the end of the day I'll know whether AG has acted. If she will have not acted, I will call her personally so that we get off this matter. We have already made a provision for next week to make transfers to counties. We want to make transfers to counties. If the opinion will come positive, we will make the 32 billion, thereabout.
Can you just affirm the figure?
Yeah, it's about 32 per month. It's about 32 billion.
Per month?
Yes, per month,
Okay.
monthly. For us to be able to clear. I'm working with 380, by the way. Yeah, on that assumption. So if it will be 400 billion, we'll adjust appropriately. Now, so that is as far as the transfers are concerned. I just want to be clear that the decision we are taking is legally sound. It's not about my feelings. It's about legal soundness. So I don't want to make a mistake, because once you make the transfer, you've made it. Now, I want to also tell honorable senators that there is no obsession. We are not obsessed with this 20 billion. By the way, the issues that the honorable senators have raised are the same things that I have personally raised and which we have been talking about. When I started, I said I've signed off today procurement worth 560 million. Because really, what is 560 million compared to what we are losing in terms of wastages? To allow us to automate end-to-end from budgeting to procurement to payment to use of goods, so that we can cut on these unnecessary wastages. We are living in this country. We know that our procurement system is fraught with a lot of corruption in it, and we want to do away with that. So it is not just about KRA. It's about the entire efficiency in government. And I think a question has been raised why we are just the national government.
Chair, point of order.
Yes.
I never want to interfere with you when you're talking, because you're CS.
Which chair? You know, you say point of order, chair, and the CS said yes. Yes.
My apologies. You know, Chair, my apologies. First, I've been chair of a party for over 10 years, and I've recently been chairing Public Accounts Committee. So, having been a chair of almost every day in your life, you tend to forget when someone.
And you see, I don't want Senator Eddy to address you as the chair of ODM, the former chair. Proceed, Senator Eddy.
Chair, the Caesar says something that is fundamentally very important, and I want to appreciate it, but I wanted him to give us more information about it. The investment on the E2E system of 560 million. Can you give us what number of impact that would be in terms of what would be the revenue that you'd see this one impacting? You know, if it is implemented and you say by January it will be on, because you're working on this DORA amendment on this financial year, then it means that it will take root during the time of this financial year. What will that be? What will the cost of that impact on our ordinary revenue that we're projecting in terms of just how much will it help us save, to the extent that then that can also speak about some of the successes we are seeing here. So that it's not just a number that is thrown, but it's a very important progress that he has talked about there. There has to be projection on the impact it's going to have.
Proceed, Waziri.
Yeah, Chair, you'll allow me, if there maybe Senator Eddy would want maybe more specifics on how effective this system would be, maybe I would be prepared to come another time to just give empirical evidence.
Okay, proceed.
Yeah, but we are in agreement that if you automate properly our procurement system, we are likely to save a lot of money, running into, in my view, more than 100 billion. It could even be more. So that compared to that would even help us sort out these cuts that we are putting across to be made. Why 20 billion? You know, Chair, if we were to go 85-15, it would be huge. We would cut a huge amount. So we weighed these options. What do we do? And now you realize that the share is not 85-15 as is being proposed in the law. It's actually 93.6 to 6.4. So we are only reducing the share going to the counties by 6. The percentage out of the 316 billion, national government is taking 93.6, and 6.4 is what we are asking. That's our ask that the county government takes. This we are alive to the fact: A, national government has a bigger responsibility in revenue collection, and 2, the counties have, let me say, a lower resilience capacity to absorb any reduced revenue or shareable revenue. So if you're asking for a scientific way, I don't think there's any scientific way. We are just looking at how then do we absorb without compromising services at both levels. And I understand clearly that there are some non-discretionary expenditures also at the county level. And Honorable Senator Boni, it is true that Kenya has money, but if you look at the figures that we have, then that money is not there. But we must do something. We must do something to realize our full potential. And that is why we are taking these initiatives to target the tax collector, target expenditure, so that we can mop up more resources. But that will be immediate and long term. What of the in the long term? What of the immediate term? The immediate term, we are not sure whether we'll realize all these savings, whether we'll realize money, because the process of automation takes time. Even KRA reforms will take time. So what do we do? And that is why I am calling for the support of this committee as the new CS at the Treasury. In terms of massaging egos, Honorable Boni, you will agree with me, it is also not my duty. I didn't come to this office to massage anybody's ego. So we are not doing this maybe to make some people happy. No. We want to make sure that we do the right things. We must make sure that we do what, if we are successful, as I believe we will, then this country, it will be very comfortable for us to live in this country, because we will get services. My concluding remarks.
And I wanted to give you your concluding remarks just shortly after members do their remarks.
I just wanted to say something maybe about this. Or overall, Honorable Senators, I just want to plead with you that, yes, I know cutting 20 billion could be a lot to the counties, but why can't we cut it and tell counties that this 20 billion can be found? We can get it from some of the budget lines, which accommodates a lot of wastages. We have done it at the national government level. We are cutting austerity, some even to 100%. We have. Partitioning is no longer there of offices. We have reduced most of these budget lines to 50%. I believe counties can also do it. And if all the 47 counties, by the way, Senators, if you just take a pen and a paper and get the budget lines, take the budget of 47 counties the last year, and look at the recurrent expenditure, the lines that we're talking about: austerity, transport, domestic, foreign, all these things, taking tea in the offices, fuel for vehicles, which you see are running all over, even weekends. If you just take a pen and reduce those lines for the 47 counties, I'm sure you'll get more than 20 billion.
Thank you, Waziri. At this point, because we are supposed to have another meeting, I'll open the floor for very short, brief remarks. Can start with Senator Eddie, member of ODM.
I think that, no, not remember broad-based, but I think that on a serious note, if you can cut some more money from national levels, that would be very good. And Boni, I think Senator Boni has pointed to some areas, including advisors such as David Ndi. But that one is up to the executive to think about. But on a serious note, because my fundamental question has been the question about how does this number come from, and you have advised also that it's not necessarily scientific. It's about looking at the number that you would wish to cut, which you had come with a number that would, see you do a proper physical consolidation. I still believe that fundamentally, Article 219 of the Constitution, because you cannot read it without reading 225 of the Constitution, because there is a subsequential article which is 225. Then it goes without saying that in an ideal world, this shortfall should only be a function of the national government. But because you have said this is an arbitrary number, CS, bonus CS, I think a bare minimum conversation that could even invite us on the table is then that counties should not at least get less than what they got in the year 2023-2024. I think that's a bare minimum conversation, just because of what you've said, that this number was arbitrary to the extent of trying to balance that physical consolidation. Then it will be what you, in your own world, immoral to give counties any money that is less than what they got in 2023-2024. So 380 is already too low. But that said, I think that we need to have a more vibrant conversation on how do the discretionary and non-discretionary funds look in terms of mapping in all the 47 counties. And I think that is something that us as a Senate should be able to look at as we go into this conversation, because naturally this is going to go to mediation. From the look of things, the Senate is not going to allow this to go low. But other than that, I want to say that I appreciate you coming. And also, this being the first meeting, it's a very hard task, but we have seen a very good partnership between this committee and the Treasury. And of course, the common faces here can attest to that. They can whisper to you over maybe lunch after this. And I'm hoping that the Treasury can continue that proper engagement with this committee in a partnership way than otherwise. Other than that, I thank you so much, and I hope to engage some more in other issues that will come in future.
Thank you so much, Senator Edi. Senator Boni.
Minister, thank you for coming. Enjoy your lunch.
There is no lunch, Senator Boni. The austerity measures. I don't